We're live, man. We're back on the air.
Good.
How you
Good.
feeling?
I'm feeling, I'm feeling good. I'm always good.
I always got to
Some,
ask.
I know. I just feel like I wish I had a different answer.
I don't
I mean,
think you
I
need to have
don't.
a different
I
answer.
don't. I don't. But it's like, yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I did hit my head. I was just looking at it before you said something. Today, we were at the mall. At this mall, we were going to get lunch. And it was a little like outdoor mall called Destin Commons here.
Uh-huh.
And dude, I'm feeling a little woozy. Is what the other place I was gonna say. The other thing I was gonna say. So I didn't tell you this, but I so our bag or my wife's car, her Atlas. It's got like you pull the trunk of it's an SUV,
Yeah.
and it's not an automatic. I think there's a setting like turned off, and I've just never like taken the time to turn it back on. So you have to manually shut it.
Right.
And I got the stroller out for our youngest, um, and which wasn't paying attention, I guess. So I went to slam it down because I don't do anything like gently, and I slammed it down. I think you can see where I
Oh
cut
my
my head.
God. You cracked your head open.
Yeah, it was pretty. It was bleeding pretty good. It's like it's scabbed up now.
When
I had
did you
butterfly
do
stitches up
when did you do this?
today.
Today? Well, I
Today,
know
yeah.
today, but how long ago?
Oh, it was like 6 hours ago.
Geez, so
7.
you've probably got a concussion.
I'm pretty confident I do. Yeah. I mean,
Dang,
I literally
folks. So
put me on my.
Cole's got a concussion. He's working on a podcast and he's on vacation. The man's an animal.
Yeah. I no, I honestly like legitimately. I've had concussions before. It put me on my knees. Like I literally because I slammed it and I caught my literally. I mean, you gotta hit your head really hard to make it bleed,
Yeah.
and it like. I mean, dude, I'm talking my eyes went like I lost vision and I was like down on a knee. I'm like, and like, it takes a lot from my wife because usually she's like, suck it up, whatever. Like even she was like, "Are you okay? Like stay down. Like, what can I get you?" Like, she was worried. Like, that's how hard I hit. I mean, because like I don't. I mean, it literally put me on my knee. Like, it was bad. But then we ended up going to lunch and walking around and shopping and stuff. Because I wasn't like let it ruin the day, but I definitely feel like I'm just a little bit like woozy. That's the right word to use.
Yeah, dude, head
I mean,
injuries are no joke.
yeah, I definitely think I can cuss. I mean, it was like I haven't had something like that happen in a long time. Because I've had concussions before, but
Well, prayers for a speedy
it was.
recovery, man. I can't believe that happened.
I mean, I'm fine. I'm fine. It definitely. Like I feel fine. I mean, dude, I don't feel any different. So it's not like I'm like could I have a concussion? Yeah. But like, do I have a headache or anything like that? No. Like I feel a little woozy, but
Yeah.
I'm a little tired. But I don't think it's anything major. I mean,
Well,
like this is. I didn't need stitches or anything, so
we'll find out halfway through
basically,
the show.
basically, I'm a badass.
Well,
Okay, like most other people,
that's a
dude,
given.
they'd have been in the hospital, but me, I'm just like I'll brush it off. I got blood running out. Not kidding, but it's all good. It's all good. So I'm ready. I'm ready to rock. I'm a little tired, a little woozy, but I'm excited to be on here, and we're gonna rock it.
Hey, I'll pick you up, you know? That's what I'm here for. And if you feel like screaming at me halfway through the show,
Yeah.
we'll know that the concussion is fully kicked in. I think you get
It's all
moody.
the it's all the it's all the concussion. Yeah.
Well, good stuff. Well, not good that you've got a concussion.
Well, if I say something stupid, then I can blame it on that. Be like, no, dude, it's just because I was concussed.
That's
Like that's why.
perfect, man. If anything sounds bad tonight,
Yeah,
we're blaming it on Cole's feeling a little concussed. And if something silly comes out of my mouth, we're still
yeah.
blaming it on the concussion. Well, hey,
That's what I should tell my wife if she gets mad at me. Be like, babe, I was concussed. Like I don't remember. I'm sorry.
right.
All right, let's move into what we want to talk about today. Got some
Yeah,
good stuff to
well,
talk about.
we are on what, episode 24? It's hard to believe. So thank you for anyone that continues to join each and every episode, and any of our new listeners, thank you very much for joining us on this journey. Cole and I continue to cook up some great content. I do want to make one quick announcement. We have a new partnership with a local company out of Cincinnati, Ohio. Drum roll. It
That was my drum roll.
is a awesome company run by a former neighbor turned business friend. He's still a friend. Luke Keefe, Mr. Keefe. The name of the company is Lanta Creative, and they basically make lovely home signs, prints. You can put it up in your office as well. I got something made recently. I'm looking around for it. It might be, oh yeah, hanging up there. More Life Inspiration. I got that done by them. So they make some really cool stuff. Go ahead, check them out. If you want some awesome artwork done, they can blow up some family photos. I mean, anything that you want that's a photo, they'll make it look really good, professional. These guys are great to work with. And if you hurry over to the Lanta Creative website, you can enter in Lanta 20 exchanges for 20% off. That's an awesome discount right there. So again, head over to Lanta Creative at Lanta 20 exchanges to get 20% off.
Is Lanta Creative? Is Atlanta LANTA creative.com? That's the website, right?
Yes, thank you. I might have botched that. So lantacreative.com is the website. And if you use the promo code LANTA, LANTA 20 exchanges, you'll get 20% off your order. That's a heck of a deal.
That's a smoking deal. And I just want to add to that. I know a little bit about Lanta as we've just covered in the partnership with them, and I have to say, they're pretty cool. They got a pretty awesome range of services and capabilities. And the neat thing is everybody likes to say they're creative, but Lanta, they do have a lot of really creative minds involved in that, including Luke Keefe, which I think they're just an awesome company to partner with. They've got like-minded individuals there, and they can do a lot of really cool stuff, whether it's home, photos for your house, whether it's stuff for your wallpaper, whether it's, prints for your office or cool signs. They can put a unique, cool little twist on it. So definitely excited. Just want to add to that. Excited to be partnering with them.
Totally. Shout out once again to Luke. Thank you for working with us. And again, head over to lantacreative.com and use the promo code Lanta20 exchanges for 20% off your first order. All right, Cole. Shall we jump into some topics?
Let's hit. Let's focus first on one that was on my mind as I'm on. I keep saying the word on. Whatever. Sometimes it's
concussion.
When I say the same word.
Concussion.
Yeah. I'm like a robot on. You got to smack me to get me off that setting. By the way, okay. So side note, and I know we're supposed to jump into this, but dude, I was at this restaurant called Gulf Coast Burgers.
Okay.
And we should do a whole episode or episodes on automation.
Yeah.
And robotics.
Heck yeah.
Because this restaurant didn't have any servers. It had robots
going
around with drink robots, and then they bring your food. So you ordered off of a QR code, and then your drinks were brought to you on the drink cart, and your food was brought to you on a food cart.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, dude, it was literally so cool. Say hi to there's my wife and Blake.
Hey! Look at that. Our first
so beautiful.
appearance.
There's our first appearance on
Blake and Amanda. Hello, welcome.
She's getting Blake's nervous.
Oh no, she's not. She's stealing the show. Put her back on. We're tired of seeing you, Cole.
Love you, babe. So no, it was just really neat. I took some videos of it, which I think we could share for our guests if they're interested. These were all I'm getting at is it was just we could do a whole episode about robotics automation, and I think it'd be interesting to get into some of your thoughts on like what you think about where we're going with that. Because my thoughts are like, great, this is awesome, but we don't have servers. So it asked me to tip 20%. You know what I mean? I was like, no, I'm going to tip 5% because I
Dude,
didn't have a real server actually work with me.
I got a lot of thoughts. I say we save that for another show.
I figured you did, and I just had to like mention it so that way I plant the seed for you, so don't forget about it.
Yeah, no,
Um,
I love that,
but
planting seeds.
it was super interesting. So anyway, what I really wanted, what you know, and this is something we talked about. What I wanted, and I've been thinking about is getting into just vacation, right?
Yeah.
And the question is, or the topic, is like taking vacations and why it's so good for you, and kind of like that whole piece of like disconnecting
Hmm.
and finding that space that you need in your life, because I think you know even vacation right now, it's with social media and connectivity and access to information and being able to be reached at all times.
Hmm.
I feel like the vacation is just getting harder and harder. And the purpose of a vacation is to literally to get that space. And I feel like it's becoming harder and harder. So just something I want to, I was, top of mind for me. And I can share some of the stuff I'm going through now, or you can kind of jump in, Hayden. But just talking about like, why is vacation good? Like why is it good? When can it be good? And also why do why is it critical just to take that time away? Maybe it's not a vacation, maybe it's a staycation, or maybe it's just a weekend where you set your phone down. But why is that like set time so important?
Yeah, so I think this is a fantastic topic to dive on into tonight. I'll first start things off with saying I think vacation might mean different things to different people, but as you kind of were alluding to, it doesn't need to be your standard definition of a vacation of, leaving your home and, going wherever it might be. It could be simply just taking time away from work or your professional career and spending time doing things that you just enjoy doing that add value to your life and make you happy. Something that just deep down in your soul you really enjoy doing. So yeah, there are definitely instances where it's the traditional vacation of, oh, I get to go down to, let's say, Florida or a beach. I get to disconnect, and as you said, it's a little bit more challenging because everyone has access to a smartphone these days, and it's so easy to still pull that out and check your emails. And I think a good way to counter that or not get into that behavior of, well, although I'm still away from work or the office and I'm on vacation, it's not going to hurt for me to check my emails. For me, I would sign out of my email account. And again, that's not that big of a deal then to try to sign back in, but it's somewhat of a barrier for me not to worry about signing in. And again, this is going to be different for different, people depending on the career or the job that they're in, because there still are instances where you still kind of got to be on just in case, all shit hits the fan. But the
Mm-hmm.
point that I'm trying to hit on is it's really important to disconnect, even if it's for maybe 24, 48 hours. I mean, not everyone has the luxury of taking a week long vacation or 2 weeks, whatever it might be. Sometimes all you need is a day or two just to take a breather, take a step away from what
Mm-hmm.
you do, 80% of your time, and basically just focus your energy on something else, because that will help you recharge and mentally come back a better person, both for the company that you're working for or your own company, and just overall, like your mental health will improve. And I'm speaking from experience, and I'm sure you've got some thoughts that you would like to share too. But yeah, it's super important to make sure that you're carving out time throughout the calendar year to not be working, because it just adds so much value back into your life and it
Mm-hmm.
helps you again, just take a step back, a breather, reflect on what's most important, and then you feel, pumped up or recharged to get back to work when your vacation is over. So those are my initial thoughts.
Well, so I think you're spot on, and kind of what one of the ways I interpreted Hayden, the way you're looking at it and phrasing it, and speaking to it is like it's different for everybody. Like just like anything, and
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna just for you listeners, you're going to keep hearing Hayden and I say that and repeat that over and over and over and over again because we want to be very clear that we are open and understanding that like life is full of all these different variables,
It's
and we
relative or it's
understand that.
subjective. Those are my favorite
Yeah, like
words.
we get that, and we get that, and so you're not going to hear us a lot of the time the stuff we're talking about. You're not going to hear us give it a black or white answer. We're going to share our opinion, understanding that it's and expressing that this is not a one size fits all mentality. So I really like that you hit on that. There's different needs for everybody, and there's different ways to go about doing that. At the end of the day, like that recharge and that reset is critical. It's critical because literally when you get to that point, you when you are at critical battery, like you're related to like critical battery power of like like a RC car or like a vacuum cleaner.
Yep.
I mean that thing's gonna die. Not not not
Mm-hmm.
not. I mean literally, dude. But that thing's gonna crash, right?
Right.
It's gonna crash, and then you're gonna have to then you have to put that thing on a charger for how much longer, if not just replace the battery, right? So I'm using a kind of analogy here, but I think it's just a huge part of our lives, and that a lot of the stuff that we are currently have available to us helps with that, and also doesn't. And it's kind of like how you use it. Back to how you use certain things. So that I agree with that, and then I think kind of one of the ways I've looked at it. So I'll share my personal experience, Hayden, recently from in the way that works for me is a little bit of incorporating that quote unquote me time or recharging time
Mm-hmm.
into my weekly schedule.
Heck yeah.
And that is, and it's like you hear the whole like, and I mean, I've got two kids now.
Mm-hmm.
I've got this podcast. I've got a full time job. My daughter's into horses. I'm married. My wife works. And I'm not saying, oh, I'm so busy, but I am. I'm really busy. And
Yeah.
I'm sitting here saying to anybody out there that says they're too busy to make that time, you're lying to yourself. You are cheating yourself out of valuable time because you can make it. You just got to make it. It just might not be a 3 hour time slot. It might not be an hour time slot. It might be a 25-minute walk. It might be on different days of the week. But I digress. My point is I've started working that kind of routine into my week, so that way a vacation like this, the way I approach this vacation is I'm down in Florida, right, with the family, and
Mm-hmm.
obviously I want to spend more quality, like more family time.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm here to spend I having time with my two daughters, and we have some friends we're down here with that have a daughter that's like have two daughters and they're best friends with Ava, and we love them to death. So we're hanging out and having a good time. We want to have that quality time, but I also didn't say I'm going to come down here because I didn't come down here going, I just really, really, really need a break from life.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I just really need to reset. I have to have it. I'm at that point. I wasn't really at that point for this vacation, but I knew what was good for me. So I haven't set boundaries for this vacation with work. I'm not working all day. I'm not checking my email all day. I'm leaving my phone when we go to the beach.
Mm-hmm.
I'm leaving my phone when we're at the pool or we're having dinner and stuff.
Right.
But I'm not holding. I'm when I'm like when I'm coming from the beach and we're all chilling out, I'll check my email. I'll respond to a couple emails.
Mm-hmm.
I might return a phone call if I have to. So I've approached this vacation differently than some of the ones I've done in the past, and it's felt like it's worked better for me. It's felt like by not putting so much pressure, because sometimes you go, I need to completely disconnect, and then it's like you disconnect so hard that it's like then you're stressing out about going back to work.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I don't want to have that. I don't want to go back to get back in town and have all this stuff that I put off when I'm not putting more on my plate this week but I'm doing just enough. So I don't know.
I'm gonna
I
jump. I'm gonna
digress.
jump in there real quick. I mean, you've added some really good points. I think the point that you made around if you completely disconnect, like you're gonna add a lot of stress, like worrying about coming back to whatever it might be. And I agree that definitely happens a lot. But I think where great companies stand apart from just good companies is the right management and the right team. And
Mm-hmm.
basically, you have people that are willing to step up and help you while you're away. So you really can fully disconnect. And again, there's only, certain companies or situations where this works, but then it helps alleviate, that stress of, well, crap, I'm going to have, 1,000 emails. I'm going to have to do 10x times what I'm normally doing just to catch up. Like you got to undig yourself out of, a boatload of work. And what I'm getting at is the great companies will have people that are going to help you while you're gone so you don't have to get into that type of situation.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, you're not going to be as stressed coming back. Stress is always going to be
Oh,
there, but the level of
well,
it.
absolutely, absolutely. And I get again, I think it's interesting how we interpret what each other says too,
Yeah.
because I think I 100% agree with that, and so I guess my with the when I say completely disconnect, put everything off,
Mm-hmm.
like I mean I coach I'm using me as an example and all the stuff I have going on in my life. So like me disconnect, like I can't really just like I could, but I'd be disconnecting from like talking with Ava's sports trainer, talking to my soccer team I have coming up, talking with just stuff like that, like family members that need stuff. And when I get back in town, I got another trip coming up. So like disconnect, I don't disconnect from everything, but I think you've got a really good point that if you're working with the right organization and the one that truly like cares, they've got things in place and you've got team members in place that can pick up your slack, so you don't have to come back to just like you said, like a pile of work that's going to bury you for months.
Yeah, I mean, look at us too as the examples of not a one size fits all. I mean, I'm more so focused on like the business aspect because that's my primary like responsibility versus you have not only your business, you got the podcast, you've got your wife, your kids, like you've got a lot more responsibility. So yeah, as you mentioned, you can't completely disconnect from some of those conversations outside of just a work setting, whereas mine is more so
Right.
focused on just work.
Well, and you can, and then again, like you can, and you also get to choose like what you let stress you out too, which
Yeah,
is a whole different topic. I mean, you can choose what to let you, like what you let stress you out. Like
totally.
you can. Sometimes I sit there and I go, "Oh, this is really stressful," and then I'm like, "Why though? What is it? Like, is
Right.
it? There's another, So we get on that rabbit hole, but I think this routine for me, this trip has worked very well. Um, it is the first trip I've been on, Hayden, too.
That you've cracked your head
And I
open.
think no, yeah. Well, no, I was gonna say the probably the first trip since I was, I mean, a lot 18, 17, and
Okay.
since I haven't had any alcohol
Oh wow, yeah.
on a vacation.
Wow.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? Like the trip has gone a lot better because I've woken up feeling like $1,000,000 every day and clear headed. And
Right.
I've gone for a couple jogs when we've been here. I've got exercise in.
Well, you're putting your
But again,
time and
this is why
energy
work.
in different places now. It's not like, oh, well, I get to
Right.
go drink and now I got to try to figure out a way to manage my hangover. Now you've got all this other time to do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah. So no, I think just that concept of vacation and getting that time away is just I still to this day I think companies are more and more getting behind it and people are more and more getting behind it. But if you're in an organization or you're with a company or anybody that says like that shames you for like you need to take time off or wanting to go on a trip, leave.
I was just about
Like
to say the same exact
quit,
thing. Leave.
quit.
It's
Just freaking
2022. You got
quit.
to find a company that supports you as a human being, you know? You don't want to be
Yeah.
tied up in an
It is. That's
organization
not.
that doesn't value you and you got to be working around the clock. That's
If
just
you're
not
nervous,
sustainable.
yeah. If you're nervous to put time off and put in for time off, leave. Just leave. I mean, that is not an environment like I can't stand when people like I've worked for companies that are like you're like you're conscious about like taking time off because you're like what are other employees gonna think? It's like that's not the kind of culture you want to be in. So I digress. I wanted to jump in so we don't drag this on too much because I am on dinner duty here soon.
You're on
But I
fumes, you got a
wanted to
concussion and you're on dinner
touch.
duty.
Yeah, well, I'm grilling some steaks tonight. So last night here in Destin before we go to Disney.
Oh.
Girl's first time to Disney, which brings up a good. Um, and again, we probably don't jump into this more in depth on a later episode. I think we should is patience. And I think something that's Hayden for me recently that's been critical and probably for you too is having patience, practicing patience,
Mm-hmm.
and where for me it's like I just think it's such a critical again reason we're critical. It's a very important part of our lives,
Mm-hmm.
and it's also like it's a very tricky part of our lives.
Yep.
When to know like when you should have patience, when you shouldn't have patience. Like what areas require patience, what areas require like don't require patience. Can you push through? I just think it's for me recently, just with our podcast, with my job right now, and being married and having a second daughter and dealing with those different relationships, patience has been something I've been praying about and like trying to be better about. Like it's been on my mind a lot lately. So I think it's something I'd like to dive into. Just get your thoughts on the word patience. I mean, when practicing it, what it means to you.
Yeah, I mean, that's another big topic there. And I think the answer to when is the right time to show a great amount of patience, I think it's situational. There's definitely a lot of nuance. And again, there's no one size fits all response. But yeah, I would say that any great leader or any human being that's trying to become just better has I'll say a decent amount of patience because we all have a fixed amount of patience. Let's be honest. But the more that you can recognize, situations where it might kind of upset you, such as you receive an email or you send out an email and you're expecting a response and you're not getting that in a timely manner. And again, I'm using a business example. Sometimes it's all right to give it, another day or two for someone to respond back. Like, not everyone's going to treat your message as top priority, whether or not, in your eyes, it truly is a top priority and they need to see it that way. So, again, I'm just using an example from a business standpoint. And then with like friends and family, yeah, you got to have patience at times when, you might not be on the same page. And sometimes you just have to take a step back and, recognize that we all have shared perspectives, but we all have a unique and different perspective at the same time.
Mhm.
And trying to recognize that. And that's something that I'm working on as well. Like we're all in different stages of our lives, um, and recognizing, where each person is kind of helps put things into perspective in terms of how I approach, that relationship with someone and how I want to communicate with them. And I mean, I'll use us as an example. Like, look, you have a wife and kids, you've got way more responsibilities and other priorities. Like, I have to understand that I can't call you up. I mean, we still do talk, don't get me wrong, for anyone listening, but I have to respect your time with your family, and make sure that I'm not cutting into your personal time. Like there, I have to have
Mhm.
patience. Like I am not priority number one in your life because again, you've got a wife and kids. So that's just another example that kind of I've been kind of adjusting to. but I think we both
I've
respect
noticed.
each other.
I've noticed, by the way, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure.
You've been very patient with. I would say that's a good example. I mean, you've been very patient and flexible with our like just our communication and understanding that, and like you've adapted very quickly because when we first got it together and you weren't used to, you know, you didn't have a business partner that had two kids.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like that
Yeah.
wasn't something you were used to.
Right.
So you've had to adjust. So I appreciate that.
But it's a two-way
Kudos.
it's a two-way street because you're doing the same for me. Like I've got a pretty strict fitness and workout routine, so you flexed your time as well. So it's not like it's Cole and his family. Like I have to plan around his schedule. Like it's definitely we're meeting
It
each
goes
other in the
both ways.
middle. Yeah,
Oh
totally.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to add to that point you said, the point about, when you're talking about patience about like work, right?
Hmm.
Business. I think where my head goes with that, and just to, and maybe this might flow into a different conversation later, but my head goes with that is like knowing, again, where we've talked about being aggressive, like knowing when to put your foot on the gas
Hmm.
and knowing when you can't force something, right?
Right.
And I think that's where patience comes into play, and practicing patience. And I think that's it's so subjective and such a hard thing to do, and it's kind of like a feel it out
Hmm.
kind of thing. Where like the more experience you get in business, whether it's starting a business, whether it's working for a company, whether it's just your job or switching jobs, the more time you get out in the business world, um, the more you're going to get opportunities to be patient or be forced to be patient.
Hmm.
And what's tricky is as you get more experience, and this is where I think business leaders that take off and go off the moon, like to Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos and those kind of, like, I mean, and you can name millions and millions or billions of other successful business people. I'm just those are the first mega ones that come to
Sure.
mind.
Sure.
Um, but I think where those guys, those kind of people separate themselves from the pack, and this is where I'm trying to model myself after, and on the business side of things, is they figure out when to be they almost get it down to like a math problem,
A
right? Two
formula.
plus two equals a
Hmm.
formula. That's what the word, where they understand when they need to be patient with their ventures and where they can force things. And they understand it so well that they play the long game right, where they're patient with this. The short game, they're not patient, and it all mixes together. But I think where this fine line is, and hopefully this makes sense, is that because you're, as we're in business, we're working different jobs, and we're being told no, or we're getting things dragged out, a lot of us as human beings tend to shy away from like riding that fine line. We just turn to patience all the time. We say we're always going to be patient with everything, right? This is going to take a long time. We'll let it take a long time. This is going to take this. And we stop looking at like the opportunities when we should be patient and when we shouldn't be patient. And we kind of just push everything off. And I think that's like really critical for business, is to understand like what projects and what opportunities you should take to be patient, and then what other opportunities you should take to not. I know we're speaking just about patience, but I think we get those opportunities every single day, and we, taking advantage of them is critical. So hopefully I didn't ramble on. Hopefully that made a little bit of sense.
Yeah, no, it did make sense, and there's definitely a few things to kind of unpack there, and I think we could definitely maybe save some additional time on another episode to talk more about patience. But I'll just add a couple of additional thoughts, and then we can probably look to wrap things up here because I know you got to throw the steaks on the grill and enjoy some dinner time
Yeah.
with the family. But in terms of like the two business moguls that you threw out there, like yeah, I think they definitely know when to push things and then when to kind of take a step back. But at the same time, I think they hire really important people that are closest to the problem and they kind of delegate and let them handle things.
Mhm.
So that's kind of where my head goes when you talk about just patience with those big CEOs or leaders of a company. Yes, they have patience, but they also have really smart people that are working closest to these big problems, and they put their trust in them to help solve these issues. So they're patient with those people that they're working with, but they again put all of their trust in those people to kind of help them
Achieve that.
achieve. Yeah, exactly. Um, yeah, so I wanted to add that, and then there was something else that I wanted to add, and it's slipping my mind, but it must not be that
Just
important.
just noodle on it.
Yeah, I'll have to noodle on it.
Noodle. No, I think you make a good point. I think what I was kind of referring to is when they start setting themselves apart was that time in their careers before they really took off, is they understood where to be patient and where to push the envelope a little bit. I think that's kind of what I meant by that. Because I think you're right. I think they now where those guys like that are, they've got. I mean, they don't really probably have to be that patient because they've got the resources and manpower to put people in the right places to do things quicker.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of different avenues to take this conversation. I think it
There
requires
are,
a
there are,
a
yeah.
separate episode to maybe dive a little bit deeper. So I say we parking lot that. That's what we say at Kroger, and we come back to it.
Dude, let's noodle on it and parking lot it.
Amen to
Let's
that,
do it.
man. Well, hey,
Well, I think we're ready to rock. I mean, I'm ready to go because I want to go grill some steaks.
you look tired. You look hungry. You got a concussion. Yeah, I say we let Cole go here, but one last time, I want to, well, one, shout out to Cole for joining us while he's on vacation. I hope that concussion gets better ASAP. You get rid of the concussion. But I also wanted to, again, plug Lanta Creative, where you can get some awesome signs and photos made. And if you go to lantacreative.com and use the promo code LANTA20 exchanges, you'll get 20% off your first order. How awesome is that, Cole? Are you going to go order
So,
something?
uh, yeah, I'm going right now, bro.
he's on he's on his way to lantacreative.com. Well, anyways, thank you all for tuning in to tonight's episode. We really appreciate you guys following us on our journey. We will continue to evolve and get better. We've got a great backlog of guests coming on soon. I know the past couple have just been Cole and I, which we enjoyed just the time with each other talking back and forth, but we do want to bring on some other experts and leaders. So stay tuned for some great guests, and everyone have a great rest of the week. We'll talk to you guys next
Thanks,
time.
guys. See ya.
See ya.